Hello everyone, and welcome to the next Beatles vinyl update. I've got quite a bit to show today, so I won't lose much time. We'll start off with a stereo fourth pressing of Please Please Me. Now this was a very nice one to get indeed, which we got from Amazon for a pretty damn cheap price actually. Because he just said that he bought it in 1963, didn't show pictures or anything. So we thought we'd take the chance, and bam. Yeah, so, I mean, it wasn't gold labelled or anything, but still nice to have an early present. Now, onto a stereo 11th present. This is a 80s to early 90s one, and this has a 2-box label with the all the rights to the producer's text, public performance, broadcasting, copying and hiring. With the Beatles, this is a stereo 8th pressing from the early 80s, with which has the same living text as the last one, so I won't bother showing you that, but it's just a 2-box pressing. This is something I got today actually. It's A Hard Day's Night mono 2003 release. Now what this was is this was actually, like, the record was manufactured in Holland, because in 2003 EMI didn't have the capacity to print all the records anymore, so they manufactured the sleeves in England and then asked Holland to print the records for them so they could be sent back to Britain to be sold in Britain. It looks very much like the Direct Metal Masters from the early 90s, late 80s, except the way you can tell is that it has a groove around the 2-box label, like it's called the dish effect. That's basically just how you can tell the difference between that one and a British release. And I mean, it looks absolutely brand new. I mean, look at the blue on that, you know. Now this I also got today. This is a Help third pressing, which was the 1969 release, before the 1-box. So it's the yellow and black label without the sold in UK text. Stereo. And these 1969 pressings are quite hard to find now, so I was pleased to get this. Although the label is only half of the attraction with this particular copy, because I recently found out that there's rarer second, third pressing covers, which rather than the normal outline stereo, like you can see on this later pressing here, it's got a solid stereo. Yeah, so the rarer second, third pressing covers you can get with a solid stereo. So I was doubly happy about that. And the help behind this is just a stereo 8th pressing from the mid 80s, and that's just a 2-box, which I'll show you now. And this, of course, is similar to all 2-boxes, except it's got the wide text across the stereo, and the 33 and third. It's all a lot wider than it would normally be, and it's all right to the producer, copying, hiring, renting, public performance at the top, which just shows it's the late version. And next up, Rubber Soul, stereo 7th pressing. Again, just a standard 80s 2-box without the white text, just a regular 2-box. Got no flip backs on the sleeve. Now this is something a bit more interesting. This is a American Rubber Soul in mono. This only cost a £5 actually because of its condition. It jumps once or twice on the record, although it plays well other than that though. There's the record, Monaural. And it's nice to get these American albums because it's quite rare I get the chance to, so I'm always happy to pick one up like that. I've got the stereo version as well, and I like on the stereo version the false start on it. I'm looking through you. I think that's always really interesting to hear, but you don't get that on the mono version. Anyway, now on to a second pressing variation C of a mono Revolver. And the difference between this and variations A and B is just to do with the layout of the label. The P1966 is moved a little bit down from the matrix number bit there, and this has the sans serif print. Matrix numbers 22. And the thing I like about this is it comes with the original black and white inner sleeve of the mid-60s, like 66, 67 I think this was used for, rather than the sepia coloured advertising sleeves which you normally see. Yeah, it's weird with Revolver actually, because with the rest of the Parlophone albums you'd expect them to come with like an EMI text sleeve. However, with Revolver, the correct sleeve can often be a black and white advertising sleeve, so that's actually really good. Now onto another Revolver. This is a stereo 7th pressing from the mid-80s. This has a barcode on the back, but it's not a Metal Master. No flip backs, of course. And the label has the wide text, like the on the other previous two boxes. The mid-80s ones always have the wide text, and they usually have the wide text depending on which album it is, and the earlier ones don't. And obviously this has got the copying, hiring, renting, public performance at the top. Now on to a stereo 7th pressing of Sgt. Pepper. As you can see in this video, I've concentrated a lot more towards the later pressings because I'm just trying to get those last few 2 boxes in, just so I can then concentrate on the rarer earlier pressings. Because if these 2 boxes are so easy to get, I might as well just get them in the bag now, and then they're completed. I think quite a few albums I've got all the 2 boxes for now. Sgt. Pepper included. This is the last 2 box I need for Sgt. Pepper. This is a early 80s one, and that's just got All Right with the Producer, except this one does not have the wide text, and does in fact have the earlier All Right with the Producer variant, public performance, broadcasting, copying and hiring, and the thin text. There's a nice sleeve on this one actually, because by this time obviously it's unlaminated, although it feels really nice. Quite cardboardy. Anyway, I've got 3 white albums to show in this video. None are early, I'm afraid, they're all later pressings. And I won't go too deeply in these because it's not just as simple as a label layout or the rim text, because the white albums are so complicated, it's unbelievable. But I'll give you the gist of it though. This is a stereo 6th pressing of the white album. This is the 76 to 80 edition, and I believe this has the poster but not the photographs. Pardon me. Yep. And it's still got a laminated sleeve at this point, but there's no number. I'll just show you one of the sides. Yeah, you just tell these little presses of the white album by how many lines they've got on each side. I'll try and show you one just as an example. Side 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines there, and side 4 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. So bear that in mind for when we look at the next white album to see if it's any different. We have the stereo 8th pressing of the White Album, 1984 to 1991. I'll pull out the. This one is complete, by the way. I think, yeah. See if there's any different here. It might not be. I'm just hoping it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's not really much difference there. Although anyway, the main difference with this particular one is though that the rim text actually reaches all the way around the label, which doesn't happen on any other pressing. Because normally, obviously, there's a little gap there because you get the top bit, and then there's a space, and then you get the bottom bit, and then there's a space. Well, here it goes all the way around the edge of the label, which makes it easy to spot on 8th pressing. That's just a bit of a fluke, to be honest. Although the rest of them can be really hard. I mean, it's getting to the stage where there's like 6 variations for the 5th pressing. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. Which is why I haven't particularly concentrated on White Albums up to now. It's just so time consuming, really. Now on to the 3rd and final White Album. This is a Holland White Album, like one of the Holland export pressings, like I showed on the Hard Day's Night. This doesn't have a number on, obviously, and has the barcode on, just like the Metal Masters, advertising it for vinyl, cassette and CD, and of course has the small apple on the back. And this is complete, which was nice. Anyway, I'll show you the dish effect again, which shows that it's Holland. There's the label, but if we tilt it forward, it's slightly hard to see in these Apple labels, but just round there, I might be able to see better on this side. Yeah, you can see better here. It's just a groove going round the edge there, and that shows you that it's from Holland, and it's not the official 90s British release. But I'm very happy to get these Holland ones because they are surprisingly difficult to find. I don't come across them very often. So yeah, I actually got this The Help and Hard Day's Night from a guy who sells records at a little stall in the town centre, and he's closing down, so he was selling a lot of his stuff off. It still wasn't particularly cheap, mind, but still nice to get. Stereo 5th pressing variation B of Abbey Road. That's just a bit, well, it's actually exactly the same as another Abbey Road that I've got. It's exactly the same as the 5th pressing variation C, except the only difference is that this has different matrix numbers, which will probably be difficult to catch. I just got the -4 and the -3 matrix numbers, whereas normally it's got like 2U and 1 matrix numbers, so they've just got slightly later matrix numbers on that, rather than there being a label difference. Now this is something fairly interesting. This is actually a Abbey Road Taiwan release. Now this is very different because I'll just take it out the cover. Let's look at the sleeve first of all. It's just like wrapped in some kind of papery thing rather than laminated, and on the back it's actually black and white, and obviously it's got all the foreign writing on there. Yeah, and it's more like just a bit of card wrapped in plastic than an album sleeve, but you know. And the label, it's on this like yellow label, CSJ, stereo of course. Yeah, so I think that's quite an interesting foreign piece to have. It sounds pretty much the same as the British ones do. You know, like it's not like a brilliant audiophile recording or anything, you know. But yeah, it's just different, to be honest. And the last record I have to show today is a Let It Be second pressing variation here. Yeah, and the difference with this one is that, well, it's not really a difference. It just shows you how it's different to the future presses. It's got very wide text here, like Two of Us and I'm Your Mind. You can see all the song credits are spread nice and wide. Same with I've Got Feeling. You can see nice wide text there. Whereas future Let It Be's have very thin text. So that's 2 or 3 times the size of the future text. You know, I've might only be like across there rather than all the way across there. So it's just got very wide text, this copy. Well, that's the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.